A newly unsealed filing from special counsel Jack Smith is putting Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election back in the spotlight. The 165-page filing lays out the bulk of evidence in the government's case against the former president. But our next guest, CNN legal analyst Elie Honig, is calling the move, quote, a cheap shot in a new piece accusing Smith of, quote, bending ordinary procedure in this new filing. And Elie Honig is joining us now. Of course, he's also a former U.S. Assistant Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Elie, great to have you here. I want you to talk more about your criticism because it seems to be really centered around the timing of this move. Of course, we're just 1 month out from the election.
Yeah, Jessica. So my criticism here is that what Jack Smith and the judge did is they reversed the ordinary process. The way it works under the rules of procedure, I handled thousands of cases every time, is the defendant, in this case, Donald Trump, files his motion first, and then the prosecution responds depending on whatever that motion is. What Jack Smith did is he said to Judge Chutkan, well, I need to go first here, and I need to file a 4 times over-length brief. Judge Chutkan actually acknowledged that Jack Smith's request is, quote, procedurally irregular, and then she let him do it anyway. And because of that flipping the ordinary procedure on its head, that's what enabled Jack Smith to put this brief in October, shortly before the election. So I think there's a big problem with that. I think it runs counter certainly to the spirit and I believe to the letter of DOJ policy that you try to avoid doing anything that could impact an election too close to an election.
And you've even compared this to James Comey reopening the email investigation into Secretary of State Hillary Clinton just days before the 2016 election. Clinton's actually responded to that idea, and I want to listen to what she had to say.
I think the situation is completely different, and this is in the context of an ongoing criminal procedure that the special counsel has brought against Donald Trump many, many months before the run-up to the election. It was, frankly, motivated by the orders of the judge in this trial, who has, it appears to me, been extremely favorable toward Trump. So I think that there's nothing out of the ordinary.
What do you think about that, Elie?
Yeah, Jessica, well, all respect to Secretary Clinton. She's the one who suffered the consequences for James Comey's, I believe, outrageous conduct in 2016. DOJ found later that it was outrageous. The problem, though, with Secretary Clinton's analysis of the Jack Smith case is, respectfully, she's got her facts wrong. First of all, she's confusing the judges here. I think she's thinking of Judge Cannon, who, yes, has ruled almost entirely for Donald Trump, but that's the judge in the other case. The judge here is Judge Chutkan. I get it, similar names. Judge Chutkan has ruled almost entirely against Donald Trump. More to the point, the last thing we just heard Secretary Clinton say was, quote, there is nothing out of the ordinary. But as I described before, the way they flipped this procedure is the opposite of the ordinary. They reversed the actual way that motions are done. You can talk to 100 former federal prosecutors who've collectively handled 100,000 cases. They will all tell you they never filed their motions first. And I think it begs the question, what was the rush here? Why did Jack Smith have to ask for this, to quote Judge Chutkan, procedurally irregular approach? So I respectfully disagree.